scientists uncover astonishing underwater discoveries in the Great Lakes, revealing lost civilizations, ancient ecosystems, and dramatic geological secrets.
Flanked by the heartland of North America, the Great Lakes region stands as an enigmatic boundary between land and water, a meeting place for ancient forces, hidden worlds, and echoes of civilizations long lost to time. This sprawling freshwater system, Lake Superior, Michigan, Huron, Erie, and Ontario, spans over 94,000 square miles and contains nearly a fifth of the world's surface freshwater. For generations, these lakes have shaped not only landscapes and waterways, but also the cultures and fortunes of millions. Yet beneath these wind-tossed waters is a realm both alien and historical, shaped by relentless geology and the steady curiosity of those who seek its secrets. Each new scientific exploration brings to light hidden stories, astonishing stone arrangements, submerged hunting grounds, ancient craters, and indicators of shifting climates whose warnings ripple into our own uncertain times. Peat bogs hidden beneath the water preserve DNA from vanished ecosystems, while sonar surveys pull back the curtain on buried rivers and even hints of ancient forests. As each fragment of knowledge is recovered, new questions emerge. What worlds once thrived beneath present-day waves? Are the lakes only passive witnesses to millennia, or active shapers of life and history, still holding mysteries for those who look deeper? The Lake Michigan crater fields, scars of a violent past. At the shadowy bottom of Lake Michigan, a remarkable discovery has shifted scientific understanding of the region's geological past. Researchers, harnessing advanced sonar, have documented approximately 40 massive craters scattered across the lakebed. These bowl-shaped depressions, some hundreds of feet across, tell of immense forces that once acted upon the landscape. But what set these features in stone? Current evidence points primarily to geological activity. Seismic signatures indicate that tectonic shifts or ancient faulting events may have played a role. The craters' disrupted sediment layers, observed in core samples, are consistent with episodes of sudden upheaval. Some geologists speculate that outbursts of methane or other gases from the lakebed could have contributed, carving out depressions in dramatic fashion. While there is no confirmed evidence pointing to meteorite impacts or catastrophic explosions, the scale and number of craters are unprecedented in this part of the world. For now, the precise triggers remain uncertain, but experts agree these scars provide a clear reminder of the Earth's tumultuous history, even beneath the placid surface of a freshwater lake. Such reminders of past volatility provoke further questions. Could similar processes still occur, or are these features relics of an era long past? The silent craters continue to hold their secrets, challenging the certainty we draw from surface calm. The underwater Stonehenge of Lake Michigan, a monument lost and found. Hidden in the depths of Lake Michigan, researchers made headlines when sonar imaging revealed a stone arrangement eerily reminiscent of the famous Stonehenge of England. This circle of stones, deliberately placed and aligned, lies far beneath the water, not visible to the casual swimmer, but clearly discernible through technology. Unlike the English monument, the full purpose and context of this underwater structure remain elusive. Some stones appear to have been intentionally shaped, and one larger boulder reportedly bears a carving interpreted by some specialists as depicting a mastodon, an ice age giant that last walked the region over 10,000 years ago. Archaeologists caution that much about the site remains unknown, including the certainty of human modification and the dating of any markings. No direct evidence yet confirms the purpose of the formation, but its existence sparks legitimate debate about prehistoric activity in the area. Did Paleo-Indians mark this place for spiritual, calendrical, or practical reasons? Or is the arrangement the product of natural forces, only seeming intentional to the modern observer? The answers are still being sought, making the so-called Stonehenge a genuine archaeological frontier. Ancient hunting blinds beneath the waves, echoes of prehistoric life. Lake Michigan's submerged landscapes conceal not just enigmatic monuments, but evidence of practical ingenuity. Stone alignments judged by researchers to be prehistoric hunting blinds. These structures match patterns seen at ancient terrestrial hunting sites where rocks and brush were used to camouflage and funnel game. Geological and archaeological analysis supports the idea that these features were once above water, used when the lake's outlines were dramatically different in the wake of glacial retreat. Archaeological surveys have found stone tools, bones, and other artifacts near the blinds, attesting to a period when people hunted now extinct species across what is now the lakebed. As water slowly rose and familiar landscapes vanished, early inhabitants adapted their technologies and livelihoods. These submerged blinds stand as a testament to that adaptation, and they pose another puzzle. Faced with an environment in flux, what drove people to remain and innovate rather than move away? DNA from submerged peat bogs, reconstructing lost ecosystems. A decade ago, researchers unearthed a unique source of information on ancient environments, a submerged peat bog deep beneath Lake Michigan. This dark, waterlogged mass, covered for millennia, preserved traces of prehistoric plant life and even ancient DNA. Analyses of these samples have provided a window into the ecosystems that flourished here before the waters rose. Scientists have identified extinct plant species and reconstructed lost habitats, offering new insight into the climatic forces at work. As glaciers retreated and environments transformed, technological advances mean that DNA sequencing from ancient peat can now yield more precise records of the species present, how local ecosystems shifted, and perhaps even how people lived alongside them. These studies are vital, showing how dynamic climate and landscape changes have always shaped the region, raising the question of how today's living systems might respond to similarly rapid change. Mysterious hidden rivers, the waterways beneath the lakes. Long before the Great Lakes existed in their current forms, ancient rivers once spilled across the land that now lies beneath their waters. Recent sonar mapping has identified submerged channels, buried riverbeds that wind beneath sediment, hinting at a vanished world. These paleochannels tell of times when meltwater from receding glaciers carved deep furrows, shaping the geography for millennia to come. The courses of these long-dead waterways are more than geological curiosities. They determined how plants, animals, and the first humans migrated across the landscape. By tracing the paths of these rivers, scientists piece together maps of ancient North America, maps that influence our understanding of climate, migration, and even the likely locations of undiscovered artifacts or fossils. The rivers whisper stories of a continent in transition, and their traces persist even as the modern lakes cover their work. Chunks of lost continents, fragments from an Earth reborn. Geological investigations beneath the Great Lakes have revealed rocks and minerals whose origins predate the current configuration of North American continents. These ancient fragments, sometimes found in drill cores or exposed outcrops, bear chemical signatures that link them to ancient supercontinents. Such discoveries are not unique to the Great Lakes, but this region's dramatic geological history, influenced by eons of collision and drift, makes finds like these especially revealing. Crystalline rocks embedded in younger sediments point to episodes when continents broke apart and reformed, their stories written into the very structure of the Earth. While evidence for literal lost continents beneath the lakes is stretched, these rock fragments undeniably offer proof of ancient tectonic drama, inviting us to see the lake's foundations as remnants from a world vastly different from our own. Remnants of ancient rainforests, fossilized biomes below. Core samples from beneath the Great Lakes Basin have brought to light evidence of ancient forests, fossilized leaf litter, pollen, and wood that defy the humid, temperate climate of the present Midwest. Careful analysis shows that at different times, lush, subtropical conditions once existed in what are now cooler northern regions. The fossil record in these samples maps the transformation of the region's climate from warmth and dense forests to cycles of cooling, drying, and ultimately early glaciation. Scientists reconstruct these biomes in detail, using pollen grains and plant fossils to name species once rooted in now submerged soil. These ghost forests are not only a reminder of past biodiversity, but also cautionary milestones about how quickly climate can shift. They stand as living evidence that what now seems immutable can change completely, echoing into present-day debate about ecological resilience. The Great Lakes New Climate Era, Uncharted Waters Ahead. A major recent scientific study has confirmed what many researchers and residents already suspected. The Great Lakes have entered a new climate regime. Analysis of long-term data shows historic shifts in temperature, ice cover, and precipitation, changes that now outpace many long-standing patterns. This study finds that the past can no longer reliably serve as a benchmark for lakes' future conditions. Since record-keeping began, ice coverage has decreased markedly, and the timing of freeze-thaw cycles has shifted. The ecosystem impacts, from nesting birds to spawning fish, are already being observed. Communities across the basin must now contend with a future where the Great Lakes are less predictable. Storms intensify, droughts linger longer, and native species face new threats. These developments force a new reckoning. How well are we prepared for environments in which the known rules no longer apply? Prehistoric camps, submerged, life at the edge of the ice. Explorers probing muddy lakebeds have found evidence of human settlement once located on now submerged lands. Stones arranged in circles, remnants of fire pits, and the scattered debris of daily life. As glaciers retreated and the lakes formed, bands of hunters and gatherers made their livelihoods on exposed plains and shorelines that are now underwater. The encroaching waters eventually covered their camps, helping to preserve clues to how people lived at the very edge of habitable land. These sites are especially poignant reminders of change, places preserved in sudden silence, where the final inhabitants may have watched their world transform, unsure whether to adapt or move on. Echoes of Mastodons, ancient giants recorded in stone. At the site of Lake Michigan's underwater stone arrangement, one boulder stands out, not for its size, but for what may be etched into its surface. Some researchers have reported what appears to be a carving of a mastodon, an animal extinct in North America for over 10,000 years. Whether the marking was intentionally made by humans, or whether nature alone shaped the lines, remains the subject of debate. If confirmed, this would represent a significant, rare example of Ice Age humans artistically commemorating the creatures that shared their world. For now, only detailed analysis and peer-reviewed consensus can confirm whether the image is indeed a mastodon and whether it was carved by ancient people. But the possibility is enough to inspire awe and further investigation into the deep connections between the region's first inhabitants and the giants they lived alongside. Volcanic residue and ash layers, the imprint of distant cataclysms. Within sediment layers around the Great Lakes, geologists have documented bands of volcanic ash, imported not from local eruptions, but from far-off cataclysms carried by prevailing winds and deposited across North America. These tephra layers serve as time markers for correlated geological and environmental events. Each deposit corresponds to known eruptions across different epochs, such as those from the western United States or other far-flung sources. Though the Great Lakes region itself is not volcanic, these records prove that even distant eruptions can influence local conditions, shifting sunlight, climate, and even food chains. The study of such residues gives context to the wider systems affecting both past and present ecosystems. The Great Subsurface, earthquake faults beneath the lakes. Although major earthquakes are rare in the Great Lakes region, detailed geophysical surveys have identified ancient fault lines buried deep beneath the lakes. Seismic monitoring occasionally picks up very small natural tremors, nearly always too faint to be felt above the surface. These ancient faults are reminders that even continents' interiors change. Past earthquakes may have subtly shifted the ground or even affected the drainage of prehistoric lakes. Understanding these faults assists scientists in mapping the geological history of the basin and calibrating potential risks, however small, in the present day. Microbial life in extreme conditions, survivors at the edge. Deep within the submerged craters and bogs, microbiologists are uncovering unique life forms adapted to extreme environments, microbes that thrive in cold, dark, oxygen-poor habitats where few others survive. Some of these microorganisms use minerals and gases as energy sources, mirroring survival strategies known from Earth's most inhospitable habitats. By studying these extremophils, scientists gain insights not only into the limits of life on Earth, but also into possible analogs for life on other planets and moons. These discoveries unlock both practical and philosophical questions. To what extent can life adapt, and are the boundaries we assume really fixed at all? Fossilized forests, echoes frozen in stone. Buried in silt and clay beneath the lakes are the petrified remains of ancient trees, root systems, and whole forest floors. These fossilized woods, found in sediment cores and exposed along eroding shorelines, allow scientists to reconstruct climate and vegetation dynamics going back thousands of years. Studying growth rings and wood structure provides data on ancient temperatures, precipitation, and even atmospheric CO2 levels. These forests chronicled eras of both abundance and disaster, information that helps develop accurate models for today's changing environment. Their quiet endurance beneath the water is a reminder that every shift in the Earth's story is recorded somewhere, waiting to be uncovered. The enigmatic granite outcroppings, stones out of place. Large granite boulders lie on and beneath the lake beds, far from any known sources of similar rock. Geologists recognize these as glacial erratics, moved by glaciers over distances of hundreds of miles during the ice ages. Some of these stones have traces suggesting they were used or aligned by ancient peoples, further blending natural and human history. Researchers study their mineral content to trace the pathways of ancient glaciers, while archaeologists search for evidence of past human activity at their resting places. Each erratic tells a double story of powerful natural forces and of human curiosity, two forces shaping the Great Lakes across time. Signs of ancient civilizations, tools, and artifacts below. The waters of the Great Lakes continue to yield stone tools, bone implements, and other cultural artifacts carefully cataloged by archaeologists who use them to reconstruct settlement patterns, diet, and everyday life. Sometimes found at the sites of ancient, now submerged camps or hunting blinds, these artifacts connect us to the earliest North Americans. Every blade or fragment uncovered offers another thread in the tapestry of life on the changing shores, documenting innovation and adaptation in response to shifting resources and landscapes. Although much remains to be found, each discovery adds texture to our understanding of the people who called these dynamic lands home. Shifting animal populations, tracing the footsteps of lost fauna. Bone fragments from mastodons, giant beavers, and other Ice Age creatures are occasionally found at submerged sites and in ancient riverbeds. Some are jumbled by floodwaters, while others are found near the remains of prehistoric camps, hinting at hunting or scavenging. By studying these fossils, researchers chart the shifting web of prehistoric life, what creatures thrived when they vanished, and how human and animal fates intertwined. Each extinct species is both a chapter closed and a warning, testimony to how quickly environmental change can erase even the largest and most successful legacies. Geological records of catastrophic flooding, cycles of death and renewal. Layers of sediment beneath modern lakes record abrupt, catastrophic floods, giant pulses of meltwater, and overflows that sculpted the shape of the basin. These flood events often coincided with periods of rapid climate transition, driving migrations and extinctions. By investigating these sedimentary records, scientists can piece together a chronology of environmental upheaval and resilience. They note how forests, animals, and even human groups shifted in the aftermath, messages in the mud warning that our own era is not immune to dramatic changes. Underwater canyons and escarpments, the forgotten landscapes. Sonar and satellite mapping continue to reveal dramatic features on the submerged floor of the Great Lakes. Deep canyons, steep escarpments, and broad plateaus that were once dry land. These structures bear witness to rivers, valleys, and floodplains erased by time and water. Studying their form and orientation, geologists and archaeologists speculate on how landscapes looked when they were above water, and what hidden artifacts or fossils might remain there. These submerged valleys are reminders proves that much of Earth's surface, now invisible, has its own history of grandeur and change. The relentless advance of science, redefining the possible. Every advance in sonar imaging, genetic sequencing, or geochemical analysis pushes the boundaries of what is knowable about the Great Lakes. Scientists now work across fields, bringing together geology, archaeology, climatology, and microbiology to uncover an ever more complete picture. In place of settled history, these lakes offer up a narrative always in revision, a testament to change, complexity, and the wonder of discovery. The Great Lakes, ancient yet newly revealed, stand as living archives whose depths challenge us to rethink what we know of time, place, and our own place within it. What lies yet hidden? What ancient secrets could still be sleeping beneath the waves of the Great Lakes? Which of these mysteries most sparks your curiosity? Share your thoughts below and stay curious, because in these waters, every answer births another question just beneath the surface. Don't forget to subscribe and enable notifications for more journeys into the world's great geological and archaeological frontiers. Until next time, keep exploring, because the story of discovery is only just beginning.